Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this month's Q&A, all about unschooling. I'm so excited that you guys are here and that I have the opportunity to talk with you about one of my favorite topics in the world, all about unschooling. The purpose of this meeting, I do them on the last Wednesday of the month in English and on the second Wednesday of the month in Spanish. So today is our English night. If you are here and you thought this was the Spanish night, that's okay. You could just book for the one in 2 weeks. They'll be in Spanish, or you're welcome to stay and hang out with us and enjoy the English version too. All right, this really is just meant to be like an informal thing. I don't know if you could tell I'm like kind of sick. My throat's been sore and my kids have kind of had, I don't know, some kind of a flu this week. So I'm going to be sipping on my water here while we chat. Um, but yeah, I'd love to open up the floor to you guys. If you have any questions, you can either unmute yourself and ask your question, or if you feel more comfortable, you can just type your question in the chat. And if someone's talking and something comes to you and you don't want to forget it, type it in the chat. That's a great way to help me kind of remember, and that way I'll make sure I answer everyone's questions. And so yeah, we're going to run until 9 p.m. and then at 9 o'clock. If we finish everyone's questions before 9, then I'll go ahead and take questions from TikTok. But otherwise, I'm all yours. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you all. Have you guys started unschooling yet? Are you still thinking about unschooling? Where are you in this process? All right, I see Cece asked a question in the chat. She said, how would you define unschooling? And that is a really important question. Actually, my background is in linguistics. And so defining our terms and being really clear about what we mean is something that's really important to me. So thank you for asking that question, Cece. So I would define unschooling as self-directed education. I think that's probably one of the most simple ways to put it. Unschooling is basically just self-directed education. In other terms, it is living as though school does not exist. So my children and I, we have been officially unschooling for over 5 years now. And we really do live as though school does not exist. My kids do not go to school. They do not have any kind of curriculum that they use. They don't have any classes that they're forced to take. They don't have to do any worksheets, books, that stuff. They are able to learn what they want, when they want, where they want, how they want, why they want, and we can go as fast or slow as they need. And we're able to learn in a way that truly does spark and inspire joy. And but yeah, great question.
Hi, my name's Lindsay. So my son is 11 and I have wanted to do this for years and
Awesome.
just really not knowing how. And we live in Florida right now. Well,
Okay.
that's the whole goal, and to stay in Florida. But the schools down here are no good. And I am 100% going to homeschool this next year, but I don't want to homeschool him. And I just don't know what to do now. I've followed you on TikTok for a while and just kind of watched your videos. So I mainly need education on what to do. And I am going to look into the PAX Academy or I'm really just wanting some feedback from you.
Awesome. Okay. Well, first of all, thank you so much for being here. I just acknowledge you because I know there's so many other places in the world that you could be. And I'm really grateful that you're here tonight talking about your kid's education. And so that really shows me that his education or her education means a lot to you. And so you're very fortunate, actually, being able to unschool in Florida. Florida is one of the easiest states in order to unschool in. So my first recommendation would be to begin by reading your state's laws. And the way that you would do that is you go to the website hslda.org. And actually, I'm going to share my screen real quick so I can show you guys what this looks like. Right, sorry, here we got this. So first you're going to go to hslda.org/legal. And when you go there, you'll see they have a nice little map here. All All right, this is a map of the United States. The green states means that there is no notice and very low regulation. So that means that in those states, you don't even have to tell anyone that you're going to homeschool. It's just kind of the default. It's the first option, and we actually opt into the school system the day that we register our kids for school. So if you live in those states, there's literally nothing you have to do. If your kids haven't gone to school, you could just continue being with them at home as you have been since the moment that they were born. The light blue states are these ones here. They have low regulations, and so Florida is one of those light blue states. All right, I live here in Maryland. Maryland is another light blue state, and we're kind of sandwiched in between these other really kind of more challenging states. So I'm very, very blessed to have a little bit of light blue in the middle of all the madness that's around us. But let's take a look at Florida because that's the state where you're from. All right, so taking a look at Florida, whenever you click on the state, it's going to give you an overview like this on the first page. So as you can see in Florida, we have 3 different options for homeschooling. And the homeschooling in Florida is only required from ages 6 to 16. And this was something that was really surprising for me because I had always thought that kids had to go to kindergarten when they turned 5. That was just kind of what I was told. That's what I assumed, is that everyone has to go to school when they're 5. But no, that's not true. Actually, in Maryland, where I live, we do have compulsory schooling beginning at age 5. But most states, and Florida is one of those that's included, compulsory schooling does not begin until 6 years old. So prior to 6, there's nothing extra that you have to do. You can just keep your children at home and enjoy being with them until they turn 6. And then at 6, then you'll figure out what you're going to do next. So here it says notification is required. It's not required except for option 1. We'll talk about what option 1 is in a second. Teacher qualifications, they don't have any for the parents. They don't have any state mandated subjects. There are no assessment requirements, and they also have no immunization requirements in Florida. So that's just kind of like a brief overview. Then we're going to click where it says view complete details. All right, once we get into here with these complete details, these are the 3 options that they have. All right, so in Florida, you can do option 1, which is homeschooling under the homeschool statute. That would be homeschooling under the supervision of the state. The second option is homeschooling under a private school umbrella program. And the third option is homeschooling with a private tutor. All right, now we're going to take a look at option number 1. If you want to homeschool under option number 1, remember unschooling is just a type of homeschooling. So whatever educational philosophy you choose to use, that's totally fine. You can use whatever philosophy you want to, but all of that would fall under the homeschooling branch. So however you choose to do it, it's going to look like this, and it's just going to be called homeschooling. So whenever you're interacting with people from the state or from the government or from the school, I recommend that you use these terms that they're familiar with, because if you say, hey, I'm going to pull my kids out of school and we're going to unschool, they're going to be like, what the heck are you talking about? Most people have no idea what that is. They've never heard of unschooling, and you might get a couple weird looks. So yeah, I would recommend just using the term, say, hey, I'm going to withdraw my child and we're going to homeschool. All right, so the first step that you have to do there is says you have to file a notice of intent to homeschool. In Florida, you have to do that within 30 days of beginning your program. So you can start homeschooling right away. Just within 30 days, you have to notify them that you are going to be homeschooling your child. All right, you do not have to file this every single year. And the notice has to include your legal name, address, birth date of your kids. You can use the form that they have here on the HSLDA website. And if you're enrolled in, actually, you won't even need this for PAX Academy, but I'll talk about that in a second. So anyway, so this is one thing that you have to do. Second thing that you have to do if you're homeschooling under the state is that you have to maintain a portfolio. A portfolio is basically a record and a log of all of the things that your child has done or that they've learned or used over the year as a part of their education. And that could be any number of things. It could be curriculum, it could be workbooks, it could be worksheets, it could be just books that you've picked out of the library together. It could be YouTube videos that you've used, or maybe an online course or an app that your child has used in their learning. You can also include things that aren't like formal learning as well in your portfolio. You can include field trips that you've planned or any of those things. So you do have to keep this portfolio for 2 years. And it says here that it is not required to, but they can review your portfolio only after 15 days written notice. All right. And then this is another requirement as well in Florida. They have to be evaluated every single year. All right. So this is, again, another requirement there. And then if you decide that you're going to stop homeschooling, you have to file what's called a notice of termination. All right. So no, you can comply with all of these laws as an unschooler. Absolutely. You can keep track of anything that they've written, worksheets you've done, artwork that they've done over the years, anything that they've used or created or built, or field trips you've gone on, all of those things, you can keep track of all of that. For me personally, like we have a portfolio requirement here in Maryland as well. That felt super overwhelming for me. And after working with people who have done reviews with the county, who maybe the reviewer didn't understand the unschooling philosophy, and they were threatening to remove the parents' right to homeschool. After seeing that happen enough times, I was like, nope, I don't need to have my kids on anyone else's radar. I don't need to have my homeschool evaluated by someone who doesn't understand homeschooling at all, and much less unschooling. And so that is one reason why people, especially people who are choosing to do unschooling, will try to not do these kind of options where they're under the state supervision anymore. And so thank God in Florida, you have option two. So that would be homeschooling under a private school umbrella program. And that's basically it. When you enroll your child in a private school that's registered with the Florida Department of Education, then that organization or that umbrella will oversee your homeschool. There's no need for a portfolio unless the school requires that of you. There's no need for testing unless the school requires that of you. There's no need for any of that extra stuff unless the school requires that of you. Now, as you guys know, PAX Academy, which is my registered and accredited private school, we are registered in Florida with the Department of Education. And so we are an approved private umbrella school in Florida. So if you enroll with us in PAX Academy, then you do not have to do any of the testing requirements, none of the evaluation requirements, none of the portfolio requirements, none of that stuff that the state would normally require you to do. And then of course you'll be working with me. So I'm someone who understands the unschooling philosophy and is here to help support you and your children as you guys do unschooling. But yeah, that's basically how you would do that. If you wanted to do unschooling, you could pick either option A or option B. And then here they also have option three, which is homeschooling with a private tutor. Basically, you would pick someone who's a certified teacher to be able to come and teach your child privately. And then, you can read more about the details about that. But yeah, that's basically that third option there too. But most people do option one or option two. All right, did that answer your question?
It did, and I I am 100% going with option two, and then definitely looking up, be able to connect with you to get more information about the PAX Academy.
Oh, great. We love
I
that.
don't like the whole system of schooling, so which I never have. I was homeschooled my last 4 years.
Mhm.
It's just, the here in Florida, fortunately, my son is 11 going on. He's very smart. Has common sense, actually turns out the light in the bathroom when he's coming out type of deal, so we're fortunate with that. Um, I do work, but he stays home, he cooks, he does all of the things that he needs to, which is awesome. Which we've taught him that at a very young age. So
Great.
with this, I need him and want him to do these things. And, he just told me, I think last night or the night before, that he wants to learn Russian and German, and I'm all for that. So, which I told him here in Florida, I want him to learn Spanish first, then Russian, then German, because, it's very cultural here.
Mhm.
So, those are just things that I want to be able to do for him. He's a very intelligent child, and I don't want to hold him back. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
That's wonderful. And I think that's great that he has those like unique interests and that you're able to kind of have those conversations with him about, yes, I see you're valuing these languages. These are also, Spanish is another language that I think would be great to learn. I agree with you. I think I am bilingual. I was a Spanish teacher. So I think everyone should learn Spanish. I love it. But it's so fascinating to me though, how, every human being has their own unique thing that just kind of captures their attention and captures their interest. And so the more that you can give him the space to really explore the world and discover what are the things that really capture his attention and give him the freedom and the support to pursue those things even more, you'll be amazed at all the things that they're able to learn and that they're able to do when we give them educational freedom. It's one of the greatest gifts you could ever give your kids.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I appreciate you being so open to be able to do this because it is such a joy to me to be able to connect with you and all of these other people out here.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you guys for being here. All right, let me see. We have Luis asked another question. What are the homeschool requirements in California? All right, so we're going to go back to the HSLDA website real quick again. You can do this on your own as well. Go back. So I'm not going to take as much time with this one because I've talked about California a couple times before, but you're going to go back here, take a look at the laws in California. California also has 3 different laws, 3 different options for homeschooling. Just like in Florida, it is not required to start schooling your kids until they are 6 years old. So prior to 6, you don't have to do anything or tell anyone anything. You can just be, your kids can just be. All right, we're going to look at the complete details here. These are the options in California. So funny thing about California is that everyone who homeschools in California, they're actually not considered homeschoolers. They actually view it as creating a home-based private school. So you're actually creating a private school in your home. And so for option one, this is really the only major requirement that you have with California is that you have to file what's called a private school affidavit, or they call it a PSA. And so you have to file this form every year. And usually you fill it in between October 1st and October 15th every year. But if you like, let's say you wanted to pull your kids out now, it's April. Let's say your kids are like, I really don't want to go back to school for the end of the year. I'm just done. You could pull your children out from school right now and submit that form now, and then they would never have to go back to school. So you don't have to wait until next year to start. You literally can tell them tomorrow, you can fill out this form tonight, and your kids don't have to go back to school tomorrow. All right. So this would be, that's basically it. That's the main thing you have to fill out. Second one, which I think is so hilarious, you have to maintain an attendance register. You have to keep attendance of your child in your house, which is so funny to me because again, all of the home schools in California are private schools in your home. And so, yeah, basically what most people do is they'll either keep a calendar or they'll print out like a schedule or something like that, and they'll just check all these days my kids learned all these days, which for us as unschoolers, it's really easy because if your child is alive and breathing, they are learning. So you could literally check every single day off of the calendar because every single day they're going to learn something. There's not a single day that will go by that your children will not learn something. All right, this is the next requirement here. It says instruction must be in English. Now, again, this is something that is has been a little bit controversial in some scenarios, because they do want to see instruction in English. HSLDA has said that's something that I think they're wanting to kind of combat, this idea that like you have to be able to be fluent in English in order to homeschool your children. That is not true. But there are many ways that you can encourage your children and provide instruction in English, even if English is not your primary language. So yeah, instruction must be in English. It says instructors must be capable of teaching. It doesn't really give any specific requirements or definitions of what that means, just that you have to be capable of teaching. And then it says you have to provide instruction in the courses most commonly taught in public schools: language arts, math, science, social studies, health, and driver training. All right. Now, the interesting thing is the way that your children learn those topics is entirely up to you. So if your child wants to learn about science by going to the zoo or going to the farm or going on a nature hike outside or doing like fun experiments in the house with you, that's how they can learn science. If that's how they want to learn about science, they can learn that way. If your son wants to learn about math by working on construction or building something or doing Legos or whatever that might look like for them, they can count that as their math and as their learning. If they want to learn about social studies by watching movies or documentaries about history, they can count that as their social studies. So you're welcome to use whatever resources or not use whatever resources that you choose in your child's learning. And all of these things show up regularly in our daily life anyway. We're just usually not used to looking for it. And so that's kind of the tricky part of unschooling, is training us as the parents to look for the learning that our kids are already naturally doing all day, every day. And then it says maintain a list of courses of study and then maintain a list of instructors with their addresses and qualifications. When you enroll in PAX Academy, then you don't have to worry about like this, those kinds of things, because we handle all of that paperwork and all of that stuff for you. So yeah, when you enroll in PAX Academy, I help you with filling out the PSA, and then we maintain all of their academic records and their grades and all of that other stuff. So you can just focus on what is most important to you, which is having a happy, healthy, connected relationship with your kid. All right, so I hope that that answers your question too about California. Um, All right, so see here, Geneva said, I'm confused. If they don't have to do work, how would he go about getting a diploma? I pulled my son out of a public school. Okay, so when you homeschool your children, you have the right to decide how you want their education to be. There are many families that when they remove their children from school, they choose to homeschool them in a way that looks like school at home. And that's fine. If that's what you believe is best for your kid, you can totally do that. I will tell you though, over the years of working with homeschooling families, if a child has had a terrible homeschooling experience, or if a parent has had a terrible homeschooling experience, it has always been because of that reason. They have tried to do school at home. Homeschooling is not about doing school at home. It is about doing life with the people that you love the most. And so part of the unschooling process is that we have to unlearn a lot of these ideas that we have been taught about what learning is supposed to look like and what school is supposed to look like and what an education is supposed to look like, because we have all been indoctrinated with this idea that school has to look like, I'm going to tell you what you need to learn for your life, and here's a curriculum that you need to follow, and here's the homework assignment that you need to complete, and here's the test that you need to do to prove that you learned what I told you that you need to learn. And that is not unschooling. Unschooling is the complete opposite. Instead of looking to a curriculum to tell your kid what to do, your child is the one who's deciding what they're going to do, what they want to learn, and how they want to do it. And it doesn't mean that they're not doing work. They are doing work. But the difference is they're doing the work that is most meaningful for them. They're not doing busy work. They're not doing work that is a waste of their time. They're not doing work that just because someone else thinks that it's something that they should be doing with their life. No, they are in control of their education. So you are welcome to again, educate your child in whatever way that you believe is best. But here specifically, I'm here because I have been practicing the unschooling philosophy, and I believe without a shadow of a doubt that unschooling is the best education that your child could ever possibly have. And so, yeah, so that's why I'm here talking with you guys about unschooling. All right. Oh, and you asked also, how would they get a diploma? So when you homeschool, you as the parent are supervising your child's education. So whenever your child is ready to graduate, then you as the parent have the right to issue them their diploma. It's called a parent issued diploma. And it is exactly what it sounds like. You as the parent can go on your computer and you can type up a diploma, or you can, buy one off the internet and you can hand it to your kids. You as a parent have a right to do that because you are the one who's supervising their education. Now, that being said, one of the reasons why I created PAX Academy is because when you have a parent issued diploma and your child is trying to go to college, there are some colleges that will want to see documentation and proof of everything that your child has done that you've reflected on their transcript. So for example, if they show up with a parent issued diploma and it says, hey, my child got an A in Algebra 2, the college might say, okay, great. How did you get an A in Algebra 2? Prove to us that you got an A in Algebra 2. And you have to have a portfolio that you can present to them and show to them, yes, this is how my child earned an A in Algebra 2. But when your child is enrolled in a private school like PAX Academy, because we are an accredited private school, you don't have to worry about all that stuff. So you're avoiding kind of like that tedious process of applying as a homeschooler, because they're applying instead as a student that has graduated from a private school. So rather than having a parent issued diploma, they would get their diplomas issued from us at PAX Academy. So hope that answers your question. All right. I see Keisha said, I live in Colorado, so the regulations are that I'm required to document some of their work. How would I do that for unschooling? So there are many different ways, again, that you can document your children's work as an unschooler. If you live in a state that requires you to have a portfolio, or that you have to document the things that your child has done as an unschooler, it's going to look a little bit different than a traditionally schooled kid. And I made a couple of videos about this, but basically, as an unschooler, we focus on two different types of planning. Excuse me, guys, I'm recovering from being sick. Sorry. Okay. Oh my gosh, I feel like I could speak now. All right. So when you are an unschooler, we focus on two different types of planning. It's called forward planning and backward planning. So forward planning is when you kind of look forward towards your year and you say, okay, what are the things that I want to do with my child? So for example, if I were to do forward planning as an unschooler with my child, and let's say I lived in a super strict state like New York or somewhere like that that would require me to like do documentation, I would look at the interests of my children and I would prepare based on what they were interested in. So for my daughter, my daughter is really interested right now in animation. She has spent a lot of time learning about how to do graphic design and how to do animation on her iPad. That's something that's super interesting to her. And so for her planning, it would look something like, for English language arts, she really loves reading comic books. So I would make a list of like comic books that she's interested. She loves graphic novels, so I'd make a list of those. She also is working on writing her fifth book. She's 10. She's published 4 books already. She's working on writing her fifth book. So that would be a part of it, like writing her fifth book. So I would put that, as like, okay, that's what my daughter wants to do. For like math, my daughter actually is doing like a indigo math, which is a type of math that they do in like Russia and China and Japan. And it's like the mental math. I don't know if you've seen the kids that are doing like the abacus, but my daughter was interested in learning how to do like the abacus math. And so I don't know how to do that. So I signed her up for a class that she can learn how to do that. And that was how she chose to learn about that. So I would have that on her transcript or on her like plan or whatever. Um, then, math and science. Science, we'd look at like what are the things that she's interested in. History, my daughter's really interested in the 1800s. So I intentionally plan field trips that are around or involving like activities and events where she gets to dress up like a kid in the 1800s, or we're going to plan to go to Colonial Williamsburg so she can have an immersive experience in life in the 1800s. So whatever her interest in, I try to like plan and give her opportunities that she can do that. All right, so that's forward planning. Backward planning this is more what unschoolers do, and that's kind of when we look back on our day and what our children have done in the past, and we kind of categorize that for them. So what that might look like is keeping a journal or a diary, and actually I have a journal. A journal, well, I have a diary, it's called the Deschooling Diary, but I'm working on creating a journal specifically to help people doing this part of like the backwards planning, where you can kind of look back on your day and you can categorize the things that you've done and put it into different subjects. So for example, um, like my son, today he spent a lot of time building things with magnet tiles. We read some books today. We read some elephant and piggy books today. He was jumping on the trampoline for a while. He helped me cook breakfast. He helped me cut up strawberries. We wrote like love letters to each other on the refrigerator with magnets on the refrigerator. So those are like all things that we did today, just as a part of like our normal daily life. He asked me if we could practice math facts in the car, which is so weird to me, but yes, we did like a math bee in the car while I was driving. So all those kinds of things. So if I would to do backwards planning, then at the end of the day, I would look back on my day and say, okay, these were all the things that we did. How can I categorize those and kind of put it into like school speak? So I would say, okay, rather than just doing Legos, my son's not just doing Legos. He's doing like applying principles of engineering. He is doing patterns. He is counting. He is doing like 3D shape recognition, all those different kinds of things. You just kind of put it into school speak, or what I call teacher speak. If you don't know how to do that, I recommend using ChatGPT to help you do that. And actually, there's another website. Oh my gosh, hold on. I just learned about this the other day. Hold on a second. I'm going to see if I can find it for you. Turn your corner. No, I don't remember it off the top of my head. I'll try to look it up and then I'll see if I can send it to you. But Yeah, so that's kind of like how you would do that as an unschooler. You just kind of keep track of what you plan to do going forward, and then looking back on what you did do, and then you just document that. And yes, you can once you notify the school that you're going to withdraw them, you can remove them. Like they don't have to go back. So if you tell the school tomorrow, hey, we're homeschooling, I'm withdrawing my child, we're going to homeschool, that's it. There's nothing else you have to do. You withdraw them and you tell the school, I'm withdrawing him, we're going to homeschool, bye. That's it. All right, Diana said, we live in Maryland. How can we start unschooling? Hello, Diana. I'm a fellow Marylander. So nice to see another fellow Marylander on here as well. So again, unschooling is considered a type of homeschooling. So in Maryland, you have a couple different options. Oh, and my, let me see here. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. Okay. Sorry, my battery's dying. All right, so in Maryland, you have two different options to go about homeschooling. You can either do option A, which is called the portfolio option, where you're supervised by the county. And basically, someone from the county will evaluate you and analyze your portfolio at least twice a year. I do not recommend that option at all. I think it's extremely stressful, and it doesn't have to be stressful. I know most people will never have an issue. Like most people, their reviewers are fine and everything is fine. But I know for myself, like I already struggle with anxiety and I'm like, I don't need any extra anxiety in my life. So fortunately in Maryland, you actually have two options to be able to work with me. I run a homeschool umbrella in Maryland called the Peaceful World Schoolers umbrella. And our umbrella only costs $100 per family per year for the Maryland umbrella. Or if you want to be a part of PAX Academy, which is my registered private school for unschoolers, that costs $350 per year. But you get what you pay for. So the umbrella is definitely cheaper, but it's one of those things for people who like they know what they're doing and they're like, I want the county to leave me alone and I want everyone to leave me alone. So you enroll in the umbrella and then there's really nothing else that you have to like do with me besides we have to meet once a year and talk about your homeschooling, and that's it. So there it's like very low stress. It's meant to be zero stress, no stress. No stress, and you can just kind of do your thing and you're on your own, doing your thing, and that's fine. PAX Academy is an accredited private school. It does cost more money, but again, you get what you pay for. So when you enroll in PAX Academy, I tell parents all the time, if you are doing it right, PAX Academy should more than pay for itself. I actually recently so part of being in PAX Academy is not only is your child enrolled in a private school, but you as the parent are considered a teacher with PAX Academy. So you'll get a letter that verifies that you are a teacher with PAX Academy, and you can use that letter to get all kinds of really awesome discounts and take advantage of being a teacher with PAX Academy. I had a family that recently enrolled with us this year, and the mom, they just enrolled like a couple weeks ago, and the mom sent me a message and was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it! They accepted my PAX Academy like teacher verification with my AT&T like phone company, and that saved us 25% on our phone bill." Through the teacher discount with them, and the 25% discount, if they were to have 4 different lines, that would be over $500 that she would save every single year because of this PAX Academy teacher discount. So yes, she paid $350 to be a part of PAX Academy, but just with that one discount, she's saving $520 something. So if you're doing it right, PAX Academy should more than pay for itself. And then of course, at the end, whenever your children graduate from PAX Academy, they'll get their transcript and diploma from a private school as opposed to a parent issued one. But a lot of people in Maryland, though, a lot of them will say, hey, just, for finances sake, they'll say, it's cheaper to be in the umbrella. I'll just stay in the umbrella until my kids get to high school and then I'll switch over. So whatever you prefer is totally up to you. I'll drop the link for both of those options in the comments so that you can take a look at those and then see which one you think would be a better fit for you and your family. All right, so this first link that I'm sending here This one is for the Peaceful World Schoolers umbrella. And then we also have a Facebook group too. If you're on Facebook, it's called Peaceful World Schoolers of the DMV. And every Friday, I plan field trips and events for homeschoolers in our area. You don't have to be in the umbrella or in PAX Academy to come. Anyone is welcome. You guys are welcome to join us. So, and then the second website is for PAX Academy. So PAX Academy is $350 for one student. And then right now we actually have a family special. So it's $600 for the year for a family of up to 3 students. And I know that we're getting towards the end of this year. A lot of people ask me, as I'm enrolling now and it's April, do I have to pay for the whole year? Yes. In order to keep our prices low for everyone, we charge one flat fee for the school year, and regardless of whenever you enroll. So if you enroll in right now in April, then you would have to pay for this current school year. And then our next school year will begin on August 1st. So you would just have to pay again, but sometime before August 1st. So this would be the only year that the two payments would be closer together. But then after that, it'd just be like 1 year apart. So every June or July, then you would pay again for the following school year that would come. All right. Let me see here. Yeah, Acacia said the joke is other languages can be funnier. Great way to teach them the fun part. That's true. Ortiz said, does PAX Academy have or offer courses that the child can use or take online? So yes and no. So we partner with Khan Academy to be able to offer online courses. Khan Academy is actually the same curriculum that we used when I was a teacher in the public school system. But you have access to that already. Like Khan Academy is a free curriculum that's available to anyone. You're welcome to use it if you want to. You don't have to if you don't want to as well. There are also a bunch of other resources that are within PAX Academy too that we provide. I also include a course that I designed where I teach you as the parent how to unschool your kids from kindergarten through 12th grade. So that is also included. And then there's another course that I designed that teaches your children how to type through phonics and spelling patterns. Just that program alone costs $200, and that is also included for free in your tuition with PAX Academy. So you have access to those as well. But to be honest, I do not recommend that you use any online courses at all unless your child is the one that is choosing it. So that is the unschooling philosophy. We do not make our children do anything. There is no force or coercion at all involved in their education. If they want to do a course, by all means, go for it, do a course. But I highly recommend that you do not do anything that looks like school, and give your children time to unlearn all the things that they have learned about what they think that learning is supposed to look like, and really embrace an unschooling or life learning or self-directed learning philosophy. So yes, try to avoid curriculum and classes and stuff like that as much as possible. All right, Maribel said from Arizona, if my child is in 10th grade and fails a subject in high school, can PAX Academy change it, or how does that work? Yeah, so if your child has failed a class previously and they want to replace that grade with something else, we can absolutely replace that grade with something else. And they can actually replace their grades in public school too. This is something that a lot of parents are not aware of, but if your child fails a class and they take it again, the school will actually replace the grade that they originally had, and they can increase their grade. So it is possible. They can absolutely do that. Great. Sherry said, what ages can use PAX Academy? So PAX Academy, we accept students from ages 5 all the way up through adults. And I say adults because there are many adults who have not gotten their diplomas, or maybe they left school early, or they dropped out of high school or something like that, and they never finished their studies and they never graduated and got their diploma. We do have adults as well that enroll with us in PAX Academy that are able to get their diplomas with us too. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Are they still required to do SAT testing? So no, testing is not required at all for us. If they want to do testing, then sure, they're welcome to if they want to, but there's no requirement to do SAT testing. Now, again, you do want to pay attention to whatever like the colleges are that they're interested in. So there are some colleges that will say like, yes, you have to provide an SAT score or an ACT score. So some colleges will require that of them. You just have to be familiar with the requirements of the college that your child is wanting to get into. And that's actually something that I will help you with once you get to that point. So when your children are in high school, I actually do college and career consulting on the side. But PAX Academy students do get a 50% discount on all of my college and career consultation services. I'm able to teach you, and during those services, we basically like coordinate, we meet together for an hour, and then during that hour, I teach you everything that you need to know on how your child can hack their education and literally save you tens of thousands of dollars on their college and university like learning experience. So yeah, I will help you like walk through that, and I'll talk with you too with your teenager about the different testing options that are available, if they even want to do those testing options, what they could do instead of testing, and all of those things. So that way they're really prepared for that next season of their life. All right, Sherry said, can you help me set up for PAX Academy for Arkansas? Um, Sorry, I'm not sure what you mean. Could you clarify for me? And if you can unmute yourself too and
I was wondering, like I live in Arkansas, and like I don't know anything about this, so I was just wondering, like, how to do I just go on that website that you were showing us and just how do I enroll like my kids for like next year?
yeah, yeah. I'll share my screen again. So this is our website here. This is the PAX Academy website. You just go to paxacademy.org and then you
Okay,
just click here where it says enroll.
okay.
And that's
And
it.
is there a deadline for like
So
to
we have
enroll next year?
We have open enrollment all year long. So if you want to enroll right now, like if your kids are done and they want to leave school now, they can enroll with us right now and they don't ever have to go back. But if you're looking to enroll for next school year, we're going to open up our enrollment for next school year. It says here we're going to open it up on June 1st. So
June
after
1st.
June 1st, then we'll open up enrollment for next school year. Our school year runs from August 1st until July 31st of the following year. So, yep. So after June 1st, you can enroll for the next school year.
Okay.
Yeah, great question. All right. Louise said, sorry, I didn't understand. Okay, I'm not eligible for PAX Academy in CA since it's an umbrella program and not a satellite program. Yes, you are eligible for PAX Academy in California. Actually, we have many, many students that are enrolled with PAX Academy that are from California. So you absolutely can enroll with us from California. Yeah. Yes, we are considered a satellite program in California. All right. Any other questions on the Zoom? If not, I think I've got some questions here on TikTok over here. Hi guys on TikTok. You're welcome. All right, so I'm going to take a question from over here on TikTok then. All right, it says, is PAX Academy available in California? Do you recommend that we join the hslda.org? So yes, PAX Academy is available in California, and I do recommend becoming a member of HSLDA. For those of you that don't know, HSLDA stands for Homeschool Legal Defense Association. It's an association that was started by two homeschooling dads, and they actually were attorneys, and they saw that there was a really big need for homeschoolers to be able to have access to sound legal advice and legal defense. So if you are living in a state, or if you are worried about your rights possibly being challenged, or having any confrontations, maybe your kids are already facing like truancy court or something like that, or people are telling you like, oh, you can't homeschool for whatever reason, I would definitely reach out to HSLDA. They provide representation for free. So if you were to ever be challenged or to have any reason why like the state might take you to court or something like that, they will absolutely represent you and help you in whatever legal issues you might come up with. So they are absolutely wonderful. I would highly recommend them. And I'm not worried myself about having any legal issues because I live in Maryland, which is a really easy state to do unschooling in. But simply for the fact that like I want to support an organization that is helping other people homeschool, it's to my benefit to support an organization that is helping other people have access to homeschooling. And so that's why I'm a member of HSLDA. It costs like $120 per year. So for me, it is well worth it to pay $120 a year to help support the work that they're doing. All right. Lisette said, how does PACS work when enrolling? Do we just choose whatever courses our kids would like to take? So again, PACS Academy is a private school for unschoolers. I do not recommend that you take any courses at all. I don't recommend any courses. I do not recommend any curriculum. I do not recommend that you do anything that looks like school. As unschoolers, we live as though school does not exist. We want to embrace our children's passions. We want to embrace our children's unique purpose in this life. We want our children to discover what they love and what they love to learn about. And the only way to do that is to let go of this idea that I need a curriculum to tell me what to do, and I need a course to tell me what to do. No, you don't. What you need is you need to be a parent who is present with your children. You need to be a parent who is paying attention. You need to be a parent who is observing your child, that is supporting your child, that is talking with your child, that is playing with your child, that is sharing your life with your child. Whatever you are doing in your daily life, share that with your child. If you're making breakfast, invite them to be a part of it. If you're buying groceries, invite them to be a part of it. If you're preparing your yeah, I don't know what like if you're going to go out on a nature hike, invite your children to be a part of it. Do life with your kids and see all the incredible things that they're going to learn along the way. It really, really, really is remarkable. So yeah, I do not recommend that you do any kind of courses or anything like that that looks like school. That is like the opposite of unschooling. Yeah, we're removing our children from school for a reason, right? Like if we want to pull our kids out of school, it is for a reason. And so it really is like, it's counterintuitive to say, I'm going to pull my kids out of school because school is going so terrible. And then I'm going to try to do school at home. Like that, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. We're doing something completely different, something completely new. All right. Someone said, I'm having such a hard time unschooling with New York standards and I need out. I hear you. New York is really, really, really challenging. It is absolutely possible, though, to unschool even in New York. You can totally do it. If you enroll in PACS Academy, then I will actually meet with you one-on-one. If you live in New York, I'll meet with you one-on-one and I will talk you through how you make your IHIP, how you do your quarterly reports, how you can provide documentation for them, how you can have all of that stuff like taken care of. So I can absolutely help you with all of that stuff. Trying to think. I would also recommend looking up the Radical Unschoolers in New York on Facebook. So they have a whole Facebook group about how they do like radical unschooling in New York, because New York is one of the most difficult states to unschool in, but it is absolutely possible. All right, Maria said, thank you. This is perfect for my autistic daughter in California. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, let me see here. Any other questions here? Do you know how to find out if there are any funds for homeschooling for my son? I'm in the state of New York. To my knowledge, I don't know. I'm not aware of any like funding for homeschooling in New York, unfortunately. All right, baby AC said, what are the laws? What do you mean, what are the laws? What are the laws where? So homeschooling is determined by each individual state. What are the laws for California? Okay, so we went over the laws for California a little bit earlier, but basically the only real requirement that you have to do for California is you have to submit a private school affidavit online once a year, whenever you start homeschooling, and then every year between October 1st and October 15th. That is only if you live in California. So if you live in California, that's it. The online form takes about 5 minutes. 5 minutes to start to fill it out, and that's it. Yeah, super easy. Do you work with IEP kids? Yes, I do. I'm actually a certified Spanish, I'm a certified special education teacher, and I cannot tell you students that have IEPs, students with 504s, students with special needs, they absolutely thrive in an unschooling environment. Unschooling is the best gift that you could give to your child who has an IEP or has a 504. All right. Yeah, it's incredible. Can a high schooler finish early? Absolutely. It's one of the beautiful things about homeschooling is that you are in control of your own education. If you want to graduate a year early, graduate a year early. You can do it. You have the freedom to do what you want. It's your life. It's your education. You are in charge. Uh, Baby AC said, wow, thank you. Where can I find the form? Go on to Google and Google California PSA and then click on the link. Yep, California PSA. Christina Oliver, this is the best decision we made. I'm so glad that we ran into you and what you do for us. Oh, thank you so much, Christina. It's my pleasure. My pleasure. South Carolina laws. Yep, we talked about South Carolina a little bit earlier too. So South Carolina, they're actually, I think I'm gonna have to have my attorney reach out to them because they're giving me a hard time. But yeah. Do you have to be a stay-at-home mom to do this? No, you don't. I'm a single mom and I do it. You can do it. Yeah. Again, the beautiful thing about homeschooling is that you can learn anytime you want to. You can learn from 9 to 3. You can learn in the evenings. You can learn on Saturday. You can learn on a Sunday morning. You can learn all day, every day. There's an opportunity to learn. So yeah, you can do it whenever you want. All right, I just joined. I'm looking into unschooling my son who's in special education and has an IEP. That's great. I truly believe like unschooling is the best gift that you could give to a kid who has an IEP. Give them the freedom to learn what they love and watch them thrive. It breaks my heart when I see all of the students that I had within the special education world, and I would see all of my special education students that were so frustrated and depressed, and they felt like they were stupid because they couldn't learn the way that everyone else could learn, and that things were hard for them, and their brains just worked in different ways, and they didn't want to be forced to sit down and learn or read about stuff that they thought was boring. I don't know of any human being who would want to do that. And sure, maybe like some kids are better at like complying, but I don't know that that's a win. I was really good at complying. That was not a win for me, right? So when we take away all of that, like when we take away the force and the compulsion and we take away, the control and the manipulation and the threats and making them feel like poop, then they thrive. They thrive. You can honor your child for the unique individual that they are, whatever their unique passion is, honor them for that. Give them the freedom to explore that passion. You have no idea where that passion will take them. Do we have to come up with a school name for ourselves? If you live in California, yes. Yes. If you are enrolled in PAX Academy, then you will just put PAX Academy where it says the school name. All right, Cool JT said, I'm a teacher during the day, so do I take him out of school and I teach him when I come home? Yeah, so I can't, obviously I can't tell you like what to do or how to kind of have that work for you, but I will share with you how I did it. When I first started unschooling my kids, I was also a public school teacher. I was a public school special education teacher, so I was gone during the day. And I had a nanny, I had a nanny because my son was a preemie. And so I had a nanny who was in my home taking care of my son. And at the time, my daughter was going to like a public pre-K. She went to public pre-K for like 4 months, and it was terrible. She like came home crying every day. The teacher was screaming at them, and the kids were nasty and just like nasty to each other. And gosh, these like 4-year-old knew 4-letter words that I didn't even know when I was like 24. So that was crazy. But that was how I started. I had a nanny, and then eventually, then COVID happened, and so we were kind of like doing the whole, school online at home thing, and that was kind of cool. I liked being able to do that. I liked having, a teacher paycheck, but not having to be in the building all the time. And then I was able to be home with my kids a little bit more. I could go and have the lunch with them, and that was fun. And then after that, I left teaching in 2021, and I published my best-selling book, Tales of a Toxic Teacher, Exposing the Cycles of Abuse Within Our Schools. I published that book. And then after that, I started taking care of other people's kids in my home because I wanted to be home with my kids. But I took my kids out when I was still in school because I didn't know that I had any other options. So yeah, as long as if you have somewhere safe for your kids to be and or someone who can help with taking care of them while you have to work, then do that. Or another option, if you're a teacher, I will tell you, girl, there are ways that you can make a lot more money than you are right now as a teacher and doing something that you love too. I mean, I don't know, maybe you love teaching. Um, I like teaching, but I hated what teaching had become and the toxicity of the school system. It was really a very toxic, abusive environment towards students and also towards teachers and staff. And so I was ready to be out of that environment and create something better. So, but I will tell you, there are absolutely opportunities for you as a teacher outside of a traditional classroom where you can teach what you love, when you love, where you love, how you love, and you can make a lot more money doing it outside of a traditional school. All right. What is the CDS code? You don't have to worry about that. Do you know if there's any funding in Nevada for homeschool? I don't know about Nevada. I do know that there is funding in Arizona. There's funding in Tennessee. There's funding in Florida. Trying to think, where else is there funding? I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you can Google it. Just Google like Nevada School Choice or Nevada Educational Scholarship Program or Nevada Homeschooling Scholarship, and see if something shows up. Elisa said the school system in the United States is broken. Yeah, it's funny. I used to think that. I used to think that the educational system in America is broken. But then I read John Taylor Gatto's book, The Underground History of American Education, and I realized that our school system is not broken. It is working exactly the way that it was designed. Our educational system was founded by some wealthy elite white men who wanted to basically create a nation of workers. Actually, that was his little quote. He said, "I don't want a nation of thinkers, I want a nation of workers." He wanted people who would sit down, shut up, obey rules, follow directions, and do repetitive, meaningless tasks over and over and over that could work in his factories and make him rich. That's what they wanted. And that's why they created the school system. They had to remove children from their homes and force children to sit down and shut up and follow rules and do what they were told over and over and over and over, and refuse to allow them to think outside the box, refuse to allow them to live outside the box. But that is not the kind of society that we value today. That's not what I want for my children. And I'm pretty sure if you're here and you're listening to this, then that's not what you want for your kids either. If you want your kids to be a cog in a wheel, then sure, leave them in school. But if you want your children to learn what it means to be successful, if you want your children to truly understand what it means to love learning and to love life and to grow up without anxiety and to grow up without depression and to grow up without bullying and to grow up without drugs and sex and alcohol and all the other nasty stuff that comes along with a toxic school environment, then pull them out of school and create something better. If your child is saying that they don't want to go to school, if they're refusing to go to school, if they're complaining about their teachers yelling at them, if they're complaining about kids treating them like crap, then pull them out of school. Stop letting them go back to these toxic, abusive environments. Don't do it anymore. Don't do it. You don't have to. You don't have to. You literally can just tomorrow, you can write a note to the school and say, I'm withdrawing my child from school. We're gonna homeschool them. And that's it. And you're done. That's it. You don't have to do it anymore. Yeah, have an early summer vacation. Enjoy it. Lindsay said, the sub that came in my son's class told them that elementary was essential, and if they wanted to be anything in life and go to college, they needed to do good in elementary school. No pressure. No pressure. No pressure. My kid's dad didn't attend the second quarter of public school from 7th grade to graduation. He failed most of his classes. Now he owns his own business with no college degree. Public school means nothing. Lindsay said my son was devastated. Horrible. That is terrible. Gosh, it makes me so mad when I think about all the damage that we do to kids in schools. Like, I don't think parents have any idea. Like, when I say that the school environment is toxic and abusive, I am not like exaggerating. I am trying to speak to you with the most honesty that I possibly can so you can open your eyes and see our educational system is toxic and abusive. And if your children are in a public school system, they are in an environment that is toxic and abusive. And if you have the ability to get them out and do something different, please, I beg of you, please do. Please do. And if you want to know what happened when I was a teacher in the public school system to make me tell you the public school system is toxic and abusive, then I invite you to get my book, Tales of a Toxic Teacher. I share it all there. Everything, yeah, not everything, of course. I couldn't write a book that would fit everything that I could possibly tell you about the things that I've experienced in my over decade-long career as a public school teacher. But just believe me when I tell you the things that happen in public school are absolutely terrifying. It is not a safe environment for your children. It is not a physically safe environment for them. It is not an emotionally safe environment for your children. There's zero reason why you should have a 7-year-old with anxiety. Like, why is that happening? Why is that happening? Like, there should be zero reason why there's a 10-year-old that's feeling depressed and overwhelmed. Like, why are you overwhelmed at 10 years old? That should not be happening. Like, they're 10. They should be enjoying their life. They should be playing. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I realized I didn't know. Oh, Debbie said, I realized that I did not even know my child until I pulled him out of public school. That's so true. That's so true. I can't tell you how many parents have told me the same thing, that like they had no idea that they didn't even know their own kid until they pulled them out of public school and they were able to spend quality and quantity time with them. And then they were like, oh my gosh, I had no idea this amazing human being that God's given me to raise. They're so cool. I love them. I love spending time with them. It's amazing. And it breaks my heart too when teens, when parents are like, oh, they have, they think that their relationship with their kid is terrible. And I'm like, what do you expect? They're gone from you all day. And then when they come home from school, they're exhausted. You're coming home from work, you're exhausted. And then what? You cook dinner and then you fight about homework and then you go to bed. Like, how are you supposed to have a positive, happy, healthy, connected relationship with your kid like that? How? How can you do it? I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know how. What are Texas's laws? Texas has one of the best homeschooling laws in the entire country. I would argue in the entire world. They are absolutely incredible. If your child is in Texas and they are not enrolled into public school yet, then you do nothing. You don't have to notify anybody. You don't have to report to anybody. You don't have to take a test. You don't have to take a quiz. You don't have to do anything. If your child is enrolled in a public school, then all you have to do is write a letter to their school and say, hi, my name is XYZ. My son's name or my daughter's name is XYZ. This is their birth date. This is our address. I'm going to withdraw them and I'm going to homeschool them here at this address at my home. Have a good day. Bye. This is their last day. You're not going to see them again. And that's it. That's it. You withdraw them from school. Nothing else. All right, can you repeat the name of your book that you read? Yes, the book that I read is called The Underground History of American Education by John Taylor Gatto. And then my book is called Tales of a Toxic Teacher. Maribel said everyone here should read her book, Tales of a Toxic Teacher. We as parents don't know what really happens inside of our kids' school. Thank you so much for saying that, Maribel. I really appreciate you saying that. And it's true. It's true. If you have, I think a lot of times as parents, we have this like romanticized idea of school, right? Like we want to believe that school is this awesome place where like amazing learning happens and all this like wonderful stuff is happening, and these professionals are like teaching our kids cool stuff. And no, that's not happening. That's not happening. Yeah, there's I don't know what is I don't know what has happened. I don't know what has happened, but especially in the last 10 years, like it's like everyone's just lost their minds. I mean, the behavior of the kids is out of control. Um, Behavior of the kids is out of control. Teachers are like overwhelmed and exhausted. It's like the perfect storm of terrible. Like truly, it's the perfect storm of terrible. All the things like coming together. I'll give you a prime example. My first year teaching. I was teaching Spanish 1 at a public high school right outside of Washington, D.C. I was in an inside classroom, and an inside classroom meant that it was a classroom that was like on the inner part of the school. So I had 0 windows. I had no windows. I had no access to fresh air at all. My classroom had 30 desks in it. 30 desks. My smallest class size was 35 students. My largest class size was 42 students. I had 12 students that had to sit on the floor in my Spanish classroom every single day. Eventually, a lot of them failed, and so they just stopped showing up. So then there were seats by the end of the year. But yeah, that was what it was like teaching. And then the textbooks that we had, the textbooks were older than me. Like they were published before I was born. Those are the textbooks that we had. Disaster. Disaster. So crazy. What do you say to the school district when you decide to take them out? You tell them your name, you tell them your address, you tell them your kid's name, you tell them their birth dates, and you say, I'm withdrawing my kids, I'm going to homeschool. Bye. That's it. You don't know them any explanations. You don't have to tell them what your curriculum is. Like, well, that depends what state you're in. If you live in New York, then yeah, you got to tell them a whole bunch of extra stuff. But to withdraw them from school, that's all you got to do. You tell them your name, tell them your address, tell them your kids' names, tell them their birth dates, and tell them you're gonna withdraw them and homeschool. And that's basically it. Am I on Facebook? Yes, I am on Facebook. You can look me up on Facebook. My name is Angela Harders. If you live in Maryland or close to Maryland, I invite you to join the Peaceful World Schoolers of the DMV Facebook group. That group, I plan field trips and events for homeschoolers in the area every week. So you guys are welcome to come. Yeah, and if you Google that, thank you, Lucette, for typing the title of the book here. If you type in the title of the book into Google and you type free PDF, you can get a free PDF of that book. So you can like read it for free. So Google The Underground History of American Education by John Taylor Gatto and put free PDF after it and get the free PDF. Can I do unschooling with a kindergartner? My son is supposed to start in 2025. I'm terrified to send. Absolutely. You've already started unschooling. Unschooling is just parenting. That's it. Everyone has already been unschooling. You have already been unschooling. If you have been living and learning with your children ever in their life, you have been unschooling. That's all unschooling is. You share your life with the people that you love and you learn stuff along the way. I guarantee you that you're a kindergartner, your boy who's about to start kindergarten. Does he know any of his colors? Does he know numbers? Does he know any letters? Does he know any shapes at all? I bet you he's learned some of those things. And I bet you he learned them without having a curriculum to teach it to him. How did he learn it? How did he learn it? Oh, guys, I just saw the time. It is after 9 o'clock. Thank you all so much for being with me on Zoom. If you guys are would like to go, you're free to go. If you want to stay and hang out, you're welcome to hang out too. Yes, if your child is enrolled in public school, then you must withdraw them and notify them that you're going to homeschool. Any advice in transitioning from public school to unschool? Yes, deschool. Research deschooling. Go through the deschooling process. Don't skip deschooling. My 6-year-old has overload anxiety. 6 years old. Why is that happening? That's so bizarre. That should not be happening. No 6-year-old should be overwhelmed. I'm just gonna put that out there. That should not be happening. ¿Qué opinas de las escuelas católicas? Es igual. Sí, es igual. Es igual. Todas las escuelas son iguales. Son ambientes abusivos y son ambientes abusivos porque tienen que forzar, obligar, manipular, amenazar a los estudiantes a hacer cosas que ellos no quieren hacer. Y eso no es justo. No es justo, no está bien interactuar con otro ser humano libre así. Is it allowed for migrantes? Of course. Of course. You as a parent have a right to educate your own kids. That's your kid. It's your right. Do you have to pay for a curriculum to homeschool? No. And not only do you have to pay for a curriculum, you don't even have to use a curriculum. My kids and I, we are unschoolers. You must be new here. So yes, we are unschoolers. And as unschoolers, that means that we live as though school does not exist. My children have never used a curriculum in their lives, ever. You don't have to use a curriculum. Kids can learn everything that they need without a curriculum. Your child is your curriculum. Your child is your curriculum. Let go of every other curriculum but your kid. Who do I contact after school withdrawal? I've not enrolled him for next year. And so it depends what you want to do. Like, you are totally free to homeschool or unschool your kids all on your own. If you want to do that, you can. If you want to enroll them in PAX Academy and be a part of my community and have them get their transcripts and their diplomas from an accredited private school, you can do that too. If you want to do that, you just go to paxacademy.org, click on the enroll button, and you enroll. And that's it. Super easy. Yeah. Awesome. I'm glad to have you join PAX Academy. Excited to have you guys be a part of our family. Does the district check in on you when you homeschool as unschool? So it depends what state you live in. And yeah, it depends what state you live in and how you're choosing to homeschool your kids. So here in Maryland, where I live, if you are enrolled in PAX Academy, then no, the state doesn't check on you. I don't have to report to the state. If I was not enrolled in PAX Academy, then yes, I would have to check in with the state. I'd have to meet with a reviewer from the state twice a year and present a portfolio of all the worksheets and workbooks that my kids don't do. And I have to do that twice a year if I was not in PAX Academy. But because my kids are enrolled in PAX Academy, we don't have to do any of that stuff. We are completely free from the requirements of the state. What about teachers that come to your house to teach your kids? Sure, if you want to have teachers come to your house and teach your kids, go for it. You can do whatever you want. They're your kids. Can you explain how to teach reading without a curriculum? Okay, so funny story. The reason why I became an unschooler was because I did not want to teach my kids how to read. I know it's going to sound crazy, but hear me out. When I first heard about unschooling, I have spent many years as a reading teacher in the public school system. I have my master's degree in bilingual education, curriculum and instruction. I have a specialty in teaching reading. So I know how to teach children how to read, so I thought. And then I started learning about unschooling, and I kept hearing that people tell me over and over and over and over that their children learned how to read without ever being taught. And I said, you are lying. Like, there's no way. There's no way that a kid could learn how to read without ever being taught. That is not possible. That was what I thought. That was what I thought. And at the time, my daughter was 4. She did not know how to read. So I was like, you know what? Let's try it. Let's try it. This is a perfect time for me to kind of do a little experiment. I'm going to experiment on my kids, and I'm going to see, is it possible? Is it possible for a kid to learn how to read without ever being taught? And so on purpose, my first year that we started unschooling, I said, I am not going to do anything that I would normally do as a reading teacher. On purpose, I am not going to teach my child how to read. Why? Because I want to observe her natural learning process. I want to see, how do children learn how to read completely naturally, without force, without coercion, without any curriculum, without any workbooks, without any worksheets? How does a child learn how to read naturally? That was my question. And so that was how I started unschooling. By the end of my first year unschooling, I was shocked, like legitimately shocked. I could not believe it. My daughter taught herself how to read. To this day, I have no idea. I have no idea how she learned how to read. No clue. I don't know. I don't know. I never taught her. My daughter's never done a phonics worksheet. She's never done a reading English language arts curriculum. Never done anything. And yet she could read. It was shocking to me. So how do you teach reading as an unschooler? You don't. You don't. You don't. If your child wants to learn how to read, then read. Read with them. Read with them. Every kid's learning process is different. Every kid learns how to read in a different way. So figure out the way that your kid likes to learn, and then help them learn in that way that they like, that they enjoy. Yeah. But just know, like, learning how to read is as natural as learning how to walk or how to talk. Someone told me that once, and when I first started unschooling, and I did not believe them. Like, there's no way. There's no way that my whole like reading teacher career was like a lie. I literally, what did I do? Why was I there? Why was I there? If kids can just learn how to read naturally. But I was wrong. I was wrong. Kids absolutely can learn how to read as naturally as they learn how to walk and talk. It's incredible. My son is 5 now, and he is going through his own learning process, and I can tell it looks so different than my daughter. With my daughter, it was like, I literally, I don't know. She just, like, one day she couldn't read, and then the next day she just was reading. She just was reading. So wild. But my son, he's very interested in like sounds, very interested in the individual parts of the letters and the words. He's very interested in that part. So his process is like looking a little bit different, but I'm excited to see how it's going to unfold for him too. I'm trying to get a little bit better about like documenting. I want to like record videos of my son as he's like learning to read over time. And I'm gonna try to like put together a compilation video, or, you know, kind of just how I've observed, you know, him progressing over the years and how it's been. But yeah, it's one of the most fascinating things that I've ever observed in my entire life as an educator. Diana said, in Maryland, if we register with PAX Academy, can we also have the benefits of the Peaceful World Schoolers umbrella, like the weekly field trips and events? Yeah, so the Peaceful World Schoolers group on Facebook is not for the umbrella. Yeah, it's open to anyone. So like, you don't have to register with anything to come on our field trips. Our field trips are open to anybody. Like, you could come on our field trip this Friday. This Friday, we're going to go to a playground in the area. It's one of our favorites. So yeah, anyone is welcome to come to any of our field trips and events. Mis hijos están haciendo online school. Quiero que mis hijos hagan PAX Academy. Qué bueno, espero que puedan inscribirse con nosotros. Do you do schoolwork every day? No, we're unschoolers. We don't do schoolwork ever. We do zero schoolwork. There is zero schoolwork that happens in this house. We live as though school does not exist. We do zero school. There's no school that is happening in my house. Sorley said, my son taught himself how to write in cursive. I was mind blown. He is 7. Yes. Yeah, it's crazy the things that they want to teach themselves. What do you think about charter schools? I'm gonna drink. This is water, for those of you wondering. I don't drink alcohol. I've actually never drank alcohol in my life. What do I think about charter school? I think that schools, compulsory schools, are intrinsically toxic and abusive, and they're harmful for children. That is what I think. I think that any system that interacts with children through force and coercion, through threats and manipulation, through humiliation, through isolation, is toxic and abusive and is not a safe place for a child to be. That's what I think. Yeah. You feel guilty. Isn't it great that we don't have to be our feelings? You could just have a feeling. Just let it be. Sit with it. Observe it. I feel guilty. I feel guilty because I didn't make my child do a math worksheet today. And sit with that. It's weird, right? Why do I feel guilty about that? Why would I ever feel guilty about that? It's like, notice that. That's part of the deschooling process, letting go, because that guilt comes from this story that you told yourself that learning is supposed to look like XYZ. And we're letting go of all of that. So let it go. And let go of all the guilt with it. Hey everyone, for those of you who are hopping on here, my name is Angela Harters. I used to be a public school teacher, and now I am an unschooling single mom. I'm also a best-selling author of the book Tales of a Toxic Teacher, Exposing the Cycles of Abuse Within Our Schools. And my cell phone is gonna die in a second. Let's see if I could do something about it. Mine was busy learning when I was trying to get out of the school mindset. Yep. Yeah, letting go of the school mindset is it's difficult. It's hard. It's hard. We're so, like, it's so ingrained in us. It's so ingrained in us. When I first started unschooling, so funny. I couldn't let go fully, you know, like I was a little scared. I was a lot scared. So I couldn't let it go. And I bought curriculum and stuff and I put it in the house. So I was scared to let it go. And 2 years ago was the first time that I was like, I'm not gonna buy curriculum this year. It felt so weird. It was scary. I was like, okay, is that really okay? Is it really okay if I just don't buy a curriculum? And yeah, I didn't buy curriculum. And guess what? They still learn stuff. So cool. It was so hard for me and he was doing his own thing. He learned sign language on his own. Yeah. It's so funny. Truly, I think unschooling is hard for us. It's hard for us. It's not hard for our kids. And the younger your kids are, the easier it is for them. They just embrace it. They're like, this is great. I'm free. I'm free. I can learn whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. It's great. I love it. And then we're all over here like, oh my gosh, what if they don't learn how to graph a quadratic function? Like, that's such a weird thing to worry about, right? Like, oh no, what if I don't teach them about the rock cycle this year? It could all be over. It's all gonna be ruined. No, it's not gonna be ruined. Your kids are gonna be just fine. Fess says Utah and Texas are two of the best states for unschooling, by the way. Yes, Utah and Texas are two of the best states for unschooling. Carrie said, I'm so afraid that I will fail them somehow. I'm always worrying that they won't know what they need. Brilliant. It's brilliant. I'm afraid I will fail them somehow. I'm always worrying they won't know what they need. Let's unpack that. What do they need? What do they need? How will you know what your kids need? I'll give you a hint. You won't. How will their teachers know what they need? I'll give you a hint. They won't. They won't. There's no way, like, no one is going to be able to tell you what your kids will need in 10, 15, 20 years from now. No one will be able to tell you that. No one. I was thinking about this the other day, like, if, what, 15, 20 years ago? 20 years ago, I was in school, right? Gosh, I feel old. 20 years ago, I was in school. 20 years ago, I was in school, and if someone would have told my teachers 20 years ago that I was going to need to learn how to go live on TikTok or how to run a Zoom meeting to talk to parents about unschooling, like, what teacher could have prepared me for this? No one. No one could have prepared me for this life. I don't know if you guys had a teacher that told you, oh, you got to memorize all these math facts, right? You're not going to have a calculator in your pocket all the time. Joke's on them. We kind of do. We do. We do. We have technology and resources, literally all of the information you could possibly know in the entire world. You have access to all of it literally in the palm of your hand right now. There's anything that you could possibly want to know, you could find the answer to in about 0.2 seconds. The one thing that schools need to teach kids, but can't, they cannot teach them how to be independent, lifelong learners. They will never teach them that. Schooling is the exact opposite of that. And that was one of the biggest problems that I saw when I was a teacher in public school. I would see my students, they were incapable of doing anything unless I told them step by step what to do. They've completely lost the ability to be resourceful, to take the initiative, to ask questions on their own, to figure out their own answers to their own questions, because we've told them their whole lives that there's only one right answer. And the only way to get the right answer is to listen to your teacher and copy down whatever they say word for word. That's not life. Like, that's like opposite of life. No. To be successful in society today, people want people that are creative, that can think outside the box, that aren't stuck thinking that there's only one right way to do everything, right? That's what we want today. We want people who are resourceful and creative and passionate and driven and motivated and internally motivated and know what they love. That's what we want. How on earth can you expect your kids to figure out what they love if they spend every moment of every single day doing what someone else tells them to do all the time? And most of the time, they're things that they completely hate. And most of the time, they're also things that have zero relevance in their real life. How on earth do we expect our kids to be successful like that? They can't. Can't. Are you going to fail your kids as a parent? Yes. You are going to fail your kids at some point. Just kind of part of parenting. We're going to fail. Why are we going to fail? Because we're not perfect. But man, if I fail my kids by trying to give them the most love and respect and joy and peaceful environment and freedom, sure, I'll fail like that. I'll be okay to fail like that. If I fail trying to love them as hard as I can and encouraging them to pursue their passions as hard as they can, fail like that, I'll be okay with that. So yeah, you're gonna fail. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be okay because you're gonna learn from it. They're gonna learn from it. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to start. Just start. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to know all the things. Just start. How many years have you unschooled? We have been officially legally unschooling for over 5 years. My daughter is 10, so we have been technically unschooling for 10 years. Legally 5 years. It's just so tough when you apply for the simplest jobs and they ask you for education, a high school diploma. Yeah. So that's not a problem. Unschoolers get a high school diploma. My kids are going to get a diploma. They're just going to get a diploma from PAX Academy, my registered and accredited private school for unschoolers. But they get diplomas. And if they're not enrolled, if your kids are not enrolled in PAX Academy and you don't want to be a part of PAX Academy, that's fine too. You can homeschool your kids, and then you, as the parent, give your kids a diploma. Go on a computer, type one up, and print it out at your house and hand it to your kid. That's a real valid diploma. A parent-issued diploma is just as valid as any diploma from any public school or private school or anywhere else. You, as a parent, have a right to issue your child a diploma. They'll get a diploma. Unschooled kids don't have to miss out on a single thing. They get access to everything. Anything they want, they can do. My son has taught me how to parent him and how to teach him. I follow his lead and his curiosities. Cynthia, that is perfect. That is perfect. That's the heart of unschooling, right? It's so funny. Parents, like, we freak out about, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to teach my kids? And I'm like, stop. Stop. Take off your teacher hat. Stop viewing yourself as the teacher of your kids and consider that you are the student of your child. He's the leader. It's his life. It's his life. He is taking the lead in his life. He is in the driver's seat of his life. You were there to support. You were there to cheer him on. You were there to maybe hold the map sometimes and say, hey, this way would be a cool way to turn. But he is in the driver's seat of his life. He is the teacher of himself. And if you think about it, all learning is self-directed learning anyway, right? Nobody can force you to learn anything. Nobody can force you to learn anything. I could stand in front of you and teach you Spanish all day long. If you don't care about Spanish, you will never learn Spanish. And that's okay. You don't have to care about Spanish. I love Spanish, but not everybody does, and that's cool. Right? But I can't make you learn Spanish if you don't want to learn Spanish. I could be the best teacher in the world, and it wouldn't matter. If you don't want to learn, you're not going to learn. I can't make you learn. Nobody can make you learn anything, which is a good thing, right? Like, and I've had this conversation with my students. It does not matter who your teacher is. Learning is the job of the learner. It is not the job of the teacher. You could have the best teacher standing in front of you, and if you don't want to learn, you are not going to learn. It doesn't matter how great they are. And on the flip side, you could have the worst teacher standing in front of you in your classroom, and it would not matter because a good learner is going to learn regardless of who's standing in front of them. So the goal isn't to find a good teacher or to be a good teacher. The goal is to help your child be the best learner so they can teach themselves. And I tell that to my kids all the time. You are your teacher. Everything that you've learned is because you chose it to teach it to yourself. I can't force anything to stay in your brain. You've got to decide for yourself what is important for you to learn and what's not. I can't make you learn anything. It's not my job. It's not my job. You have to take ownership for your life. You have to take responsibility for your life. Take responsibility for your life. Learn whatever the heck you want. Figure out how you want to do it and go do it. Like, who's going to stop you? Cynthia said he was 2.5. I'm not planning on sending him to school. That's awesome. Thank goodness for Montessori school. You have to figure it out, ask questions, and be independent. I think Montessori is a step in the right direction. Yeah, I think Montessori is a step in the right direction, but it is still very much teacher led. And I like the unschooler in me really wants to like get away from that as much as possible. I'm going to be testing unschooling over the summer. Hopefully his father will agree to it when he sees the love of learning again. Yeah, I think it's a great strategy. If you're not sure about unschooling, try it. I recommend trying it for a year. Try it for 1 year. If it goes terrible, you can always make a change. But I promise you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have started this years ago. I wish that I would have embraced a life full of joy and passion and fun and freedom with my kids like long ago. My son's autistic. I don't know where to start, but I will because no one understands him like I do. Mama, you do know where to start. You do know where to start. You've already done it. You're already doing it. You're sharing your life with your kids. You're paying attention to him. You're loving him, seeking to understand him, supporting him, encouraging him. That's unschooling. That's it. Already done it. So stop telling yourself that you don't know where to start. You do. You've already done it. Pavel said, we love unschooling. He chose it himself. Yes. My son is learning so much right now. He's learning money and money management. He's doing so great unschooling. That makes me so happy. I love hearing that. I love hearing stories from you guys and when you share with me. Jessica said, what happened to my voice? What happened to my voice is that last week my kids all had the flu. So Sophia had it first, and then she passed it to Ben, and then Ben passed it to Patty, and then Patty passed it to me. And so, yeah, I was like in bed for like 3 days. It was a long time. So this week I've been like out of bed, but I'm like all congested and coughing and my voice just sounds wonky. Yeah, my voice is a mess. What is the earliest age that we accept students in PAX Academy? So we accept students from 5 years old all the way up through high school, through adults. Yeah, so if you're an adult on here and you have not gotten your diploma and you want to figure out how you can get your diploma without having to like do traditional school, I would definitely recommend enrolling in PAX Academy. I'd be happy to help you get your diploma. What does a PAX Academy diploma look like? Look, it looks like it's a diploma. I don't know. It looks like it's a real diploma, just like any other one. It's got their name on it. It says high school diploma on it. Has the date that they graduated. Yeah, so normal diploma. I'd like to know more about PAX Academy. We're currently doing Connections Academy online. Yeah, so PAX Academy is my private school for unschoolers, and we provide the legal covering of a private school with the freedom to do unschooling. So there is nothing that is required, nothing that is forced, nothing that is like obligated, you're obligated to do. and we help walk you through like life and learning as an unschooler. Ruby said, I'm enjoying it, joining in June. I'm so excited. Heidi said, yes, yes, yes. I'm using Tax Academy to help my adult daughter get her diploma. I love that. Yes, I'm excited to help her get her diploma too. I can't wait to see. You have to send me a picture when she gets it. Send me a picture. I wish I could hand deliver each one. Like, that's like my dream. I wish I could hand deliver each diploma. That'd be so cool. Gemini said, I'm so happy my son actually got kicked out of school again. So I know he's home safe. Well, if you're happy that he got kicked out of school, just pull him out. Just pull him out in homeschool, then he doesn't have to get kicked out of anything again. We're struggling financially. I'm just wondering if it's worth it to continue. I mean, I can't tell you, what to do as far as like your family and your finances. Um, I will tell you, like, I am a single mom on a very low income. I make a lot of sacrifices to be able to do what I do. But it is worth every bit of it. Like for me, in my opinion, it's worth every bit of it. Um, there are a lot of things that you can do. Like if you're struggling financially, look for ways that you can earn income, like with your kids, you know. One of the ways that I started was actually like helping to take care of other people's kids because there were other people who wanted to homeschool, but they couldn't because they had to work. And so I would take care of their kids and I charged like $50 a day, nothing like crazy, right? 50 bucks a day, but those 50 bucks a day, 250 a week, you get, 1,000 bucks a month, you get 6 kids to take care of, 6 grand, home with the babies, 6 kids, you can find 6 kids. Arena said, I live in California, can my kids still do PAX Academy? Yes, yeah, we have a bunch of students that are enrolled with us from PAX Academy. Oh, Heidi, thank you for mentioning this. So Heidi and her family, they're actually enrolled in PAX Academy. Heidi is my Arizona expert on the ESA program. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Arizona actually has a program called the Empowerment Scholarship Account or something like that? Education Empowerment Scholarship Account. I can't remember what the ESA stands for. But the ESA program in Arizona, they give kids about $7,000 per child per year. You can get $7,000 per child per year to homeschool your kids in Arizona. And PAX Academy is a registered vendor. So literally your entire tuition with PAX Academy is free if you live in Arizona. Free. I'm gonna have to see if I can hire Heidi to do like a class for us on how to do how to do the ESA program. Because I see my side, but she can see it from like the mom side. Is that the same in Florida? Florida also has an ESA program as well. Theirs is a little bit different. I'm in the process of trying to figure out if we're gonna do that in PAX Academy. Because I think in Florida they have some like extra obligations, and I really, really want our families to be as free as possible. So, but I'm looking into it, seeing if we can accept the funds in Florida too, without having to like sacrifice our freedom. California does not have funding like that, unfortunately, but you can advocate with your representatives and ask for it. Can I have more information because next year I want to homeschool my daughter? Sure, yeah, go to paxacademy.org, paxacademy.org. Am I familiar with Oklahoma? Any funds in Oklahoma? I don't know of any funds in Oklahoma. I know that there are not any funds like this in Texas. Washington State, I'm not sure. Thank you, Heidi. Yes, the Empowerment Scholarship Account. What about Georgia? Georgia has the Hope Scholarship. Yeah, you can look up the Hope Scholarship in Georgia, and I believe they have another one. But I'm not sure exactly of the details if they have like an something similar to like the ESA program in Arizona. Tennessee does have a program like that. Yeah, actually, there's a girl that I know in Tennessee. They paid her $15,000 per kid in Tennessee to homeschool. Can you imagine? I'm like, why am I not in Tennessee right now? I would be able to do so much. As a single mom, if I had an extra 15 grand per kid, that's 30 grand for my 2 kids. 30 grand. Yeah, Tennessee's great. I said, wait, chimed in for Florida at the end. Are you not accepting kids? So Pax Academy, we are accepting students in Florida. We are a registered umbrella school in Florida, but I don't know if we are going to accept the ESA funds in Florida. So in order to accept the ESA funds in Florida, private schools have to like jump through a bunch of hoops, and we have to go through this whole process. And so I've been I've been messaging with the people that are in charge of the program there to see if that's something that we want to do, but I'm not sure yet. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm at like the beginning of it. So it might be, maybe it might be coming in the future that we could accept Florida ESA funds at Pax Academy. But for right now, Pax Academy is super affordable. It's $350 for the whole year. You're not going to find a private school cheaper, I promise you. I work really hard. Like literally, I've not taken a penny from Pax Academy. All this that I do is like, this is my labor of love, truly. Like you are not going to find a private school cheaper than Pax Academy, I promise you. $350 for the whole year. And you're going to make money while you do it. I just signed up for emails. I'm in South Florida. I'm hoping that it will. I live in Alamo, Texas, though. Will that be a problem? Nope. We've got we have tons of families from Texas. Yeah, Texas is one of the easiest states to unschool in. And the laws in Texas are so great, like we didn't even have to register there. So that was pretty cool. How do you make money while you are in Pax Academy? There are a couple different ways that you can do that. Actually, I just got a message from a mom not too long ago. She told me that so when you enroll in Pax Academy, not only are you like enrolling in Pax Academy, like you're enrolling your child in Pax Academy, but you are also considered a teacher with Pax Academy. And so part of that is that you get to have all of the teacher benefits that any other teacher in any other private school would get. And as a teacher, you have access to teacher discounts at virtually any store you could possibly think of. Um, I have used my teacher discount in a lot of different places. We've used our teacher discount at Universal Studios in California, at Disney World in Florida, at Legoland in Florida. We've used our teacher discount to be able to have access to like museums and nature center, or not nature center, museums and science centers, to be able to go like have free admission at certain places like that. This mom actually reached out to me and told me she was able to save 25% on her cell phone bill by enrolling in Pax Academy. They gave her 25% off of her bill for a teacher discount. And so just that discount alone, just her cell phone bill, that saved her over $500 for the whole year, and she only paid $350 to join. So cost her. Plus, you also get Canva for free. I don't know if you know what Canva is. It's like a professional graphic design program. And that program costs $120 per year, and that is included free with your tuition. If you are looking to like make substantial money through Pax Academy, one of the things that is on my kind of like vision for the future is I really want to empower like edupreneurs to be able to start creating local unschooling or self-directed learning centers like all over the country. That's like my long-term vision. I want to be able to see people do that. So if you have a heart that you're like, I want to make a living with unschooling and helping other people unschool, then I want to help you do that. Jumping through, like, it's a lot of work. It was a lot of work to like register Pax Academy in like all these different states. It was a lot. It was a lot. I had to jump through a lot of hoops, a lot of hoops. I had to pay a lot of money in a lot of states to be able to do this. It was a lot. And so I would love to have Pax Academy handle like the legal side of things for people. Like I'll handle the enrollment, I'll handle all the transcripts, I'll handle all the diplomas, I'll handle all like the academic records, like all that stuff. That's stuff like I really enjoy doing that stuff. But I want people to be able to like create the in-person stuff, you know, like I can't create an in-person facility in every place that there is because I'm not in every place that there is. And I don't want to run in-person facilities all over the world, but I want to empower other people to do that. So like if someone wants to start like a Pax Academy learning center in Texas and they want to run that as their business, awesome. Like I will help you set up a business so that you can like run that. And you have, charge people whatever you want to charge them. Like you would decide whatever you want it to be to like have other people come, have other kids come and be a part of whatever it is that you want to create. If you want to create a Pax Academy nature school outside somewhere in California, awesome, create it. And I'll be happy to help you with like teaching you how to start a business and how to start a nonprofit if you want to do it as a nonprofit or how to start something like that. My wife applied for a state funded scholarship. I'm wondering if I could use those funds. Or Cody, are you in Florida or Arizona? Oh, you said yes, Florida. Um, okay, yeah, so that's the part that I'm working on now. There to be able to be approved to accept like the state funded scholarships, we have to like jump through some hoops in Florida. So I'm in the process of like exploring and applying for that and seeing what all they're going to ask of me. But I don't want to accept state funding and then have that like compromise freedom in another way, if that makes sense. So I'm waiting to see what they say, and what they're gonna ask of me to be able to like do that. The other thing is that a lot of times when we do accept state funding, it's like extra work on my part, because we have to do additional like reporting things with the state and keep track of like additional records and stuff and report those records to the state. And so I'm not sure yet if I want to do all that. So we'll see. But it's definitely been something that's on my radar. I would love to be able to like accept the funds in the future, but like I said, I don't want to accept money in exchange for like our freedom to be able to do what we want and learn how we want. So yeah. Oh my gosh. What will it take to have a facility in Texas? Really, it just takes someone. It just takes someone. Like if you want to start an unschooling facility where you live, you can do it. Like you can create a thriving business, where you would provide a space, and there is such a need for it. Like unschooling is the future of education, without a doubt. It is the future of education, and parents are looking for these alternatives where their children can create something new and they can learn in a completely different environment that doesn't look like school. So a lot of that is like you as an entrepreneur, as a visionary, like you need to figure out for yourself, like what do you envision? What do you want to create? Do you want to create an outdoor program where the kids are outside all day exploring in nature all day every day? Awesome. People will come to that. Do you want to create a farm school? Like I've seen people that created like an unschooling learning center at a farm or at a homestead. Awesome. Like people will go to that, right? Like I would, my daughter would love to be a farmer. I'm like, I don't know how to be a farmer, but I would, if I had something like that here, she would want to do it. So, yeah, my kids actually go to an unschooling learning center here it's actually in Catonsville, so it's like half an hour away. But they have like a church space that they rent, and they have a gym, and they have an art room and a music room and a science room and whatever else, all the other rooms, a library, a game room, tons of different rooms, and the kids are just free to like go explore and be and do whatever they want. So that would be the first step, is figuring out like what do you want to create? What do you want to build? How old do you have to be to own a business? Anyone can own a business. I think legally, legally, I think you're supposed to be like over 18, to be able to like legally own a business. Um, but like my daughter runs her own business. But it's like under me, if that makes sense. Because she was 7 when she created it. So like, I had to set it up for her but she does it all. She runs it all. You can always like set up an LLC. I mean, there are ways. There are ways you can set up an anonymous LLC somewhere. Yeah. Yep, there are definitely ways. Hey, baby. Yeah. Yes. I am live right now. Do you want to come and say hi?
Yeah.
You want to come? You want to come sit here? Come sit with me over here. Special guest.
Hello. Hi. Someone said hi, Sophia.
Yeah, so this is my daughter. Her name is Sophia, and she's 10. And she has been an unschooler for 5 years now.
I think so.
And on here. Yeah. All right. So if anyone has any questions or anything you'd like to know about unschooling and you want to ask her, by all means, go for it. But you look like your mama.
Thank you.
Yep. It's like, see, it's 10 o'clock at night, and most kids, do you know where most kids are right now, Sophia? At 10 p.m.
Getting ready to go to school.
Not at 10 p.m. They're in bed. Most kids are in bed. Yeah, they go to bed they go to bed early because they gotta get up early because they gotta go to school early in the morning. Yeah, some kids go to school at like 8 a.m. Some kids go to school at 7 a.m. Really early. But it's pretty nice that we get to like be up late together, right?
Sometimes we stay up a little late.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes we do stay up late. I love it. Heidi says, my daughter stays up late too now that we're unschooling. Yeah.
What time do I wake up? I don't know. Normally my times are my times that I wake up at are 8, 7, and barely 6. But I mostly wake up at 7 something.
Hmm. Do you set an alarm to wake you up in the morning?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Nope. There are no alarms in this house. I don't think you guys understand like how nice it is to be able to like go to bed and wake up and like not have to set an alarm. Like to just wake up when your body is fully rested. It's awesome. I love it.
Remember the time that I woke up at 2:16 in
Yes.
the morning?
Yes, that was way too early.
Yeah.
My daughter Chloe wakes up whenever she's ready to wake up. Yep, it's a gift. And tomorrow you got to wake up kind of early. Do you remember what you're doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow's take your kid to work day.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you don't really go out. Go to a place to work.
Nope, I don't. You're coming to work with me right now. Yes. So you're gonna go to work with, so her best friend is my best friend's daughter, and my best friend is she works at an oncology center that's like right across the street from our house. And so tomorrow at their hospital, they're having go to work with your parents day. And so, yeah, so they invited Sophia to go along so she could see what it's like to work in a hospital with the cancer patients and stuff. So tomorrow she's going to go do that. And then you have your math class, right?
Yeah.
Math class. And then Cam is going to come over, and what are you going to work on?
Work on our popsicle business.
Yeah, tell them about it.
I don't know how to explain it. There's a fest called Pork Fest, and we're getting ready to actually go out in public and sell some stuff. We're gonna be selling t-shirts, stickers, popsicles, and our business is called Sweet and Chill because the S and C stands for Sophia and Camilla, which is our names. So yeah. And I'm a little nervous and I'm really excited to do all these fun things there.
Yep. So tomorrow you guys are gonna start today it just came in the mail. So they ordered their very first like commercial grade um, popsicle maker thing, popsicle molds. And so they're gonna start practicing and perfecting their popsicle recipes before they launch their third business at PorkFest this year. So they're going to be selling popsicles, but they've been working really hard on like designing logos and creating their menu that they wanted. And they said that they want to do all organic fruits and vegetables, right?
Yeah.
All organic fruits and vegetables. And are you going to put sugar in them?
No.
Nope. They said they wanted no sugar. They just wanted like natural sugar from the fruit. And
You will be very surprised on how sweet something can taste without any grams of sugar.
Yep, so they're gonna make some really healthy popsicles, and they said that they're gonna make them really yummy, even without adding extra sugar, so we'll see.
I wonder if any of them are going to PorkFest.
I don't know, you can ask.
Are you guys going to PorkFest?
I don't know.
Are
So
you?
PorkFest is a freedom festival that they do in New Hampshire, and it's coming up on I wanna say June 17th, something like that. So in June 17th yeah, it's like the third week, I wanna say. But yeah, that's Pork Fest. And so we're going to be going there this year. And I'm really excited because like the mother of unschooling is actually going to be there. Her name is Dana Martin. And if you do not follow her, please follow her. Her name is Dana Martin, Dayna Martin. And she was actually on Wife Swap. So if you have not seen her, you could look up her episode, Dana Martin on Wife Swap. Her episode was really interesting, but she was an unschooling mom. They're a radical unschooling family. And yeah, so she's been radically unschooling her kids since they were born. And now her kids are grown and off in the world, but it's been, yeah, I'm really, really excited to meet her. So she's going to be there at PorkFest, and then I'm going to be there at PorkFest. And I'll be bringing like my books and stuff. So if people want to get a signed copy of one of my books, they can get one of my books. And then, Sophia, we could even bring some of your books too.
I just want to sell something based on our business.
Oh, you just want to sell the popsicles at PorkFest? You don't want to sell your books?
No.
No? Okay, that's fine. So she's gonna be selling popsicles and the stickers and all that other stuff too. So yeah, so we'll be there at PorkFest in case anyone wants to go. All right, Mama, we should go to bed. You want to say anything else to the people?
Thank you for congratulating me. And my friend about the business. Thank you. And someone said, I'm in Texas and I want to unschool my middle schooler so bad.
What would you say to her?
I don't know, this is your business.
What would you say to someone who wants to unschool their kid? Do you think that would be a good idea, bad idea,
I think
hard idea?
It would be a great idea.
Why is it a great idea for them to unschool?
Because, to be honest, it makes you just feel so good and alive at some points. A lot.
It is good to feel good and alive. I love that you get to be free to do the things that
Thank
you
you for
love every
saying
day.
good night to us.
Oh, thank you. God bless you too, Marty.
Bye.
All right, bye
I'm gonna
guys.
go to
Good
bed.
night. I'm gonna go to bed with you.
Bye.